This is a replay of the Unabomber, and now he's dead. Good. Unfortunately, the illiterate left cannot just be happy that the bad guy is dead. They are desperate to point to a non-Muslim terrorist, and so now they're calling this kid a terrorist. The problem with that is that there's no evidence that he's a terrorist. Here they are, they're losing their minds on this. Some guy named Rollins Martin tweeted, "White domestic terrorist, not Muslim, not a Black Lives Matter activist, but Donald Trump's DOJ doesn't want to admit this is a problem." I think Donald Trump admits that someone blowing up Austin is a problem. From some ex-NFL person named Matthew Cherry. Literally the template they use to describe white terrorists shaking my head, and that's because the Reuters or the AP reported that the kid was quiet and introverted and reserved, which is true. All these serial killer types, it's always like, oh, he was always so quiet, he was always so nice. And then from a Hillary campaign alum known as Charles or Charlotte Clymer, depending on when you started following his Twitter account, Mark Anthony Condit was a white male terrorist and likely white supremacist. He perpetrated terrorist attacks against a community, resulting in death and destruction. This is not quiet, reserved, a nice boy, or whatever the hell else whitewashing nonsense. First of all, there's no evidence he's a white supremacist. That's completely made up. And one can both be quiet and reserved and a terrorist. That's true. Also, there's no evidence that he's a terrorist. This from Kumail Nanjiani, who is from the show Silicon Valley. The bomber is not a terrorist. Got it, because people are pointing this out. Finally, from some musician named Michael Jolett. Lots of white people saying, well, let's slow down and figure out motivations so that we are using the term terrorist properly. Seriously? You need to understand that black men are routinely murdered by police at 1 gazillionth the scrutiny you are pretending to give this term. So, okay, I don't know how that factors in. We're just talking about what does terrorist mean? What is the term terrorism? Does it apply to this kid? According to the illiterate left, the Austin bomber is clearly a terrorist. What did Mark Twain say about this? It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Terrorism has a meaning. I know we blur words a lot. Words have meaning. Terrorism has a meaning. Terrorism is targeting civilians with violence to achieve political ends.